Trade reports are escalating for the New York Knicks as a report has revealed new trade targets for the team in both Kelly Olynyk of the Toronto Raptors and Daniel Theis of the New Orleans Pelicans. All of this being amidst the injury to Mitchell Robinson that obviously will have a big effect on what the Knicks do during the trade deadline, and we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and if you guys like the content, make sure to subscribe. It helps me out a ton. 27% of people are subscribed. We're on that road to 11K now. Let's keep it going. But more importantly, let's jump into the video and talk some basketball. The New York Knicks are known for making trades every single season that Leon Rose has been the president of basketball operations. Now, usually they don't make two blockbuster trades over the summer the way they did this summer, trading for both Mikal Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns. However, the Knicks still might go out there and make a trade over the deadline, as it would help them out to maybe get some more insurance for the center position than they have right now. They do have guys like Precious Achiuwa, Jericho Sims, and Ariel Hukporti who can, in theory, step up when Mitchell Robinson is out. But the team clearly is missing something without Mitchell Robinson. So they're looking at the center market, and there's going to be a lot of centers available, which Stefan Bondy highlighted and basically named some of the Knicks' targets, saying the potential available centers on rebuilding teams include Nick Richards, Robert Williams III, Kelly Olynyk, and Daniel Theis. Now, we have talked about Nick Richards extensively on this channel, and we're probably not done talking about Nick Richards, though we really don't have to jump into a big Nick Richards discussion today. I will say he's my favorite trade option who's realistic. He's averaging this season 9 points and 8 rebounds per game. He's blocking a shot per game, shooting 57% from the field. He's a good defender, good shot blocker, good scorer at the rim, good rebounder. He gives the Knicks what they need in a center, and he's from New York. Good on offense, very good shot blocker on defense. I feel like the Knicks would make him a much better player than he is today. Still a lot of room to grow, and on a pretty cheap contract that the Knicks could afford if they traded Precious Achiuwa for him. And that's really all we have to say on Nick Richards. Now, there are other guys to talk about specifically, in guys such as Kelly Olynyk and Daniel Theis. Both of these guys are very interesting targets for the New York Knicks. And we'll start with Olynyk because Kelly Olynyk is on the Toronto Raptors, and a little over a year ago now, the New York Knicks made the blockbuster trade to acquire OG Anunoby, Precious Achiuwa, and Malachi Flynn in exchange for RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley. Obviously a massive trade that helped the Knicks win a lot. So the Knicks and the Raptors are willing to make deals with each other, and looking at this, Olynyk is a guy who would be an interesting fit with the New York Knicks, if you ask me, because he mirrors Karl-Anthony Towns' ability to shoot the ball very well. So it does make it an interesting thought that if you want a mirror, if you want a guy who's going to play very similarly to Karl-Anthony Towns, then it makes all the sense in the world to make this move. But outside of that, does it really make sense to trade for Kelly Olynyk? I mean, the man's a poor defender. He's put up good numbers in the past, but it's just kind of a question. Now, here's the thing. We do know the New York Knicks have been interested in Kelly Olynyk before. As around a year ago, Michael Scotto was talking about potential trade targets for the Knicks on the Utah Jazz, and back when Olynyk was on the Jazz, he was brought up along with Jordan Clarkson. As Scotto said, New York has registered trade interest in Clarkson and Kelly Olynyk, and we know the Knicks still have interest in Jordan Clarkson, which makes things very, very interesting as well. So the Knicks might still have interest in Kelly Olynyk also. Now, this season, Kelly Olynyk is averaging 7 points and 4 rebounds per game with 2 assists. He's a good offensive center. He's not a good defensive center. He could also play the power forward because his ability to shoot. He shoots 48% from 3, 66% on corner threes given its limited attempts. 38% of those shots are from 3, and obviously most of them are assisted, while also shooting 45% from the field. Olynyk can't really defend at all, so it makes him a weird fit on a Knicks team that does need low block defense, especially when considering what you would have to give up to land Kelly Olynyk on the team. It just becomes a very interesting idea. Now, taking a look at what they would have to do, they'd have to trade Mitchell Robinson. There's no way around it. There's no other contract that makes sense, and this is just a god-awful trade for the New York Knicks. I mean, maybe if you acquired a first-round pick in it, you could see the vision in this trade, but you'd still have to then trade Precious Achiuwa for a rim protector, as Precious would be the final tradable contract left on the team. So the Knicks would have to move him for a guy like Nick Richards, someone who could protect the rim, or potentially go back to the Walker Kessler conversations and offer Precious and the 2 first-round picks you'd then own, but I don't even think the Jazz would accept that, so the Knicks would have to find rim protection somewhere, or they'd be in a lot of trouble come the playoffs when rim protection gets even more important. So I don't think the Knicks are going to trade for Kelly Olynyk. I think he's someone in theory who they like the idea of, but I don't think it's someone who they would actually pounce on, if you ask me. However, a guy like Daniel Theis does feel a lot more likely to me. Now, Bleacher Report recently did an article talking about 3 good trade targets for each team, and there's a photo of Daniel Theis when it goes to the New York Knicks. Now, the other guys there, Larry Nance Jr., Nick Richards, same names we see a lot. We talked about Larry Nance Jr. a lot on a live stream, so if you want to go check that out, we might talk about him again, but we talked about him on the live stream, so no real need to talk about him in this video. A guy like Daniel Theis absolutely interests me, though. I mean, it just sort of makes sense to have interest in a Daniel Theis-esque player. I mean, so far this season, Daniel Theis, playing on an abysmal Pelicans team, is averaging 4 points and 4 rebounds per game with 1.5 assists, shooting 44% from the field. He's a good lob threat. He's not a great defender at all, but he's a lot better of a defender than a guy like Kelly Olynyk is. He does give solid defense, and there is a reasoning to making a trade for Daniel Theis, and it's because you could do a few different things with Daniel Theis. I mean, you could probably trade Jericho Sims and get back some sort of a second-round pick from the Pelicans just because Sims is a lot younger. The Knicks have been looking for 2 second-round picks in compensation for Jericho Sims. You get a veteran who knows how to win in Daniel Theis. This trade does make sense. You still give the Pelicans a really nice lob threat who will last longer as a lob threat in Jericho Sims, as Daniel Theis is 32 years old. It does make sense for both teams, if you ask me. It is a trade you could do. They each make $2 million, so it's easy money to make that trade go through. It would help the Knicks out, I think. I think this does make the Knicks a better team. Fanspo agrees, giving the Knicks an extra win and helping their offense more than it hurts their defense. I think this would be a good move for the Knicks if they wanted to make it. I also could see the Knicks really, really going for Daniel Theis, just as a veteran big man who they trust more than a Jericho Sims right now, if you ask me. Now, outside of that, you could also do a 2-for-1 deal where the Knicks give Precious Achiuwa and a second-round pick and take back Daniel Theis and Javonte Green. Now, I love the idea of this trade. It gives you 15 guys on the roster, and you have flexibility that if you want to waive someone, you can, and you have an extra $2 million to now sign someone. The Knicks only have $500,000 in cap space. That's not enough to sign anyone. You get that extra $2 million, you're going to have the money to make a signing for someone, potentially like a TJ Warren. You could even still just wait till March to sign TJ Warren if the money still doesn't work, but you could also make a different signing if you want, while Javonte Green also would fit nicely with the New York Knicks as well, and Precious Achiuwa sort of mirrors Zion Williamson enough that you could put Precious at power forward when Zion's out for the 90 games per year that Zion's out. I guess there's only 82 games in the season, but counting if the Pelicans are ever in the playoffs again, it would work out. I mean, given Precious could also leave in free agency, but it's a good position for Precious to be in because all you have to do is be Zion Williamson's backup power forward, and you know, Zion plays 6 games a year, unfortunately, so it could work out well for Precious to be there. Meanwhile, the Knicks still get a veteran center in Daniel Theis, and they also get a veteran defender in Javonte Green, who they could bring off the bench. Now, Green's having a nice season for himself. He's putting up 6 points per game and 3 rebounds, shooting 46% from the field and 36% from 3. I imagine that would go up on the New York Knicks as he'd get a lot more open shots. He does like to shoot an open 3. 41% of his shots are 3s, so he's comfortable being a catch-and-shoot 3 guy. He's 31 years old, has no business being on the New Orleans Pelicans right now. He is 6'4", but he plays larger than his height. Obviously not a Josh Hart type player when he plays larger than his height, but he does play larger than his height, can guard 3 to 4 positions, being the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward for sure, and also some power forwards, as the power forward position is becoming more of a shooting position anyway. Shooting 39% on corner threes is something the Knicks would be interested in, especially because they'd probably believe they could get that up. It does make for an interesting idea for a trade, and I would really enjoy the Knicks kind of exploring this. Now, again, I love the part that they get extra salary. If they do want to waive someone, whether it's Green or Theis or someone completely different, or they then, even if you do this trade, something fun about it is you can still trade Jericho Sims and maybe get a second-round pick back for Jericho Sims, and then you have the money. You've now created $4 million to work with, so you don't have to wait till March to sign a guy who's been an NBA veteran for 10-plus years. And then you could sign a TJ Warren or a Marcus Morris. So this not only makes sense for the Knicks as they get veteran players who have been on winning, successful teams, but you also get money back where you could now make some moves and have the flexibility if you want to also trade Jericho Sims. And you won't have to worry about giving up big men as much because you do get Daniel Theis back in return. You still do have Ariel Hukporti and Mitchell Robinson around that time would be back with the New York Knicks. They have that open spot. They could do whatever they want with it. They'd probably go for some sort of forward, maybe a Marcus Morris who has played a bit of center recently in his career, maybe TJ Warren who's balling out in the G League, and then you don't have to wait till March so you don't have to worry about him getting poached by another team. You could also figure something out with Moses Brown potentially, and then even make some more moves. I mean, if the Knicks did that, they could still make a waiving or something like that where they could figure out a way to just consistently make this roster better, which is the Knicks' goal as they are contending this season. Now, I do want to know what you guys think about it. Do you like any of these trades I just pitched? Do you like either of these guys as targets? Let me know down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.